Hey, with a near identical appearance to his 10th incarnation, the 14th Doctor embraced having a second chance with his old face and responded to all calls of adventure. Humorous and curious, but all sentimental and compassionate, this incarnation of the Doctor was one who ran across the universe, particularly quickly with the Doctor's battle against psychoplasm Dalek constructs in the Dalek Dome, to his encounter with the Toymaker taking place over the course of about 15 hours only. After his encounter with the psychoplasm Daleks, he eventually reunited with his old companion Donald Noble for new adventures, all while trying to unravel the mystery of his new parents. On the way, he was forced to admit he had become emotionally exhausted by everything he had been through on his travels, and was particularly haunted by the devastation caused by the flux. After undergoing a bite generation that created the 15th Doctor and defeating the Toymaker, the 14th Doctor settled into a life of rehab on Earth with his TARDIS, Donna, her family, and Melbush. And so that is the kickoff of this live stream. Welcome everybody to the Random Entertainment channel. I'm Enigmatic Joker, your host. How are you doing today? Sci-fi fans and sci-fi and fantasy fans meet on this channel for fun chats about their beloved books, movies, series, and franchises. We also talk about food, drinks, music, and sport. Except we don't do politics or religion. Because we are an entertainment channel. Random, because we will discuss everything that involves entertainment, including movies, series, books, and music. Random, because we will broadcast on non-fixed times, actually on many different times. You need to subscribe to this channel to know what time the broadcast is. And I see that subscribe not is just correctly spelled, but we will deal with that later. Random also because we have no guests or different guests. It depends who wants to join me in the live stream and panel. If you want to join me in a live stream, feel free to contact me via Discord, YouTube, and we will look what is possible. The Discord server is called Random Entertainment's channel Tech Doctor Who. Today, we have the live stream about the personality of the 14th Doctor. We will talk about the biography a little bit, the psychological profile and appearance of this Doctor. I will see some difference with the 10th incarnation, 10th Doctor. The same face, the same Doctor, but a little bit different. So, cheers, mate, for this live stream and lots of fun. Your host, Enigmatic Joker. So, let's go. About the biography of this Doctor. There's some history because when the 11th Doctor met the curator in the Undergallery and quipped how he never forgets a face, the curator cryptically replied that he might find himself revisiting a few in the years to come, though only the old favorites. We can see that in episode Day of the Doctor. While facing being shot by guards of the good doctor, the 13th Doctor claimed any attempt on her life would result in a miracle. She later considered regenerating to generate residual Artron energy. At the conclusion of the final flux event, after the embodiment of time disintegrated the Ravager Swarm and Azure, the 13th Doctor was warned that her time was heading to its end. You can see that in the Vanquishes. The 13th Doctor later compiled a book about all of her lives to aid her next incarnation if they felt weird after regeneration. So, the 13th Doctor remarked to Cleo Proctor that she would stand up again if she clobbered her, remarking that she would regenerate possible several times. So, the 13th Doctor was made to undergo a forced regeneration into her 14th incarnation in the chamber by the Spy Master, who used the energy of her Quirks as the power source for a cyber conversion planet. This allowed him to obtain the energy needed to initiate and hijack the Doctor's regeneration, while also inserting himself as her 14th incarnation. However, due to a failsafe the Doctor had enacted before her regeneration, a hologram of the Doctor was activated and able to work in conjunction with Yasmin Ken, Tika Jovenka, and Ace to undo the Master's Dalek plan. Instant Vivender then helped Yas force the Master back into the chamber so that they could use the Siren Master's regeneration energy to get the Master to degenerate back into the 13th Doctor, returning him to his original body. We can see that in the power of the Doctor, the last on-screen adventure of the 13th Doctor. Post generation. So after the Doctor freed the Quirks, so it could destroy the cyber conversion planet, the Master spitefully used his tissue compressor eliminator to redirect the Quirks' distracting blast at the Doctor, fatally wounding her, staving off the regeneration long enough to have a final conversation with Yes. The Doctor then traveled alone to a cliff overlooking the sea, where she could enjoy the sunrise before she regenerated. Making peace with herself, the Doctor began to regenerate, with her outfit morphing into a completely different set of clothes with her, also seen in the Power of the Doctor. After the regeneration completed, the 14th Doctor ran his tongue over his teeth and found himself taken aback by the fact that he was in a body remarkably identical to his 10th incarnation. We can see that in the Power of the Doctor also, thinking how he should be somebody new instead of somebody he'd been before, and also thought that his clothes changing was too weird. So, after returning to the TARDIS, the Doctor wrote a letter to the readers of an Anniel as he continued to question why he had regenerated back into an old body. While he acknowledged that he had new brain cells, he wrote that he had regained his old teeth, hands, fantastic hair, slightly quizzical left eyebrow, and brilliant grin, concluding that it was nice to have his face back, but that he was still unsure as to why. As he wrote down how his clothes had also changed for the first time since the first Doctor's renewal, he got distracted by something making a right old racket on the opposite of the TARDIS control console. So, then the reunion with Donald Noble. So, the Doctor was later reunited with his former companion Donna Noble when London was attacked by the Meep. By the way, we have another live stream next time about the companions of the 10th Doctor, Martha Jones, Donna Noble, and Wilfred Mott. And Donna Noble is also the companion of the 14th Doctor. So, but we will do that in another live stream. But now, for now, we only concentrate on the reunion with Donna Noble. So, what I was saying, the Doctor was later reunited with his former companion Donna Noble when Donna was attacked by the Meep. We see it in Star Beast, the first special of 2023 specials, 60th anniversary. Attacked by the Meep in November 2023. Having to wipe her memories of her adventures with him after a human Tide Lord's meter crisis turned her into the Dr. Donna. As his 10th incarnation, the Doctor was anguished at the idea that his presence would potentially return her memories to her, thus overloading her mind and killing her. Nevertheless, the Doctor was forced to restore Donna's memories so she could help him save London and defeat the Meep. To his shock and delight, Donna survived the process as her daughter Rose had inherited part the meter crisis and shared her power. After the Meep was defeated, Donna and Rose safely expelled the meter crisis energy from their bodies, and Donna accepted the Doctor's offer of one last trip in the TARDIS to visit her grandfather Wilf. However, mere minutes after entering, Donna accidentally spilled off coffee on the center console and sent the TARDIS spinning out of control through time and space. You can see that in Star Beast. By the way, I've made a series about all the three specials, all the last three specials. You can hear there the analysis of every specific special. And also on in less special about the giggle, I've also a talk about the universe, about by generation and canon. So further on, continue. The Doctor and Donna briefly stopped in 1666 England, where they met Isaac Newton and inspired his theory of gravity, which he misheard as mevity, before they were launched into an empty spaceship at the edge of the universe. The Artartes abandoned the pair due to its hostile action displacement system being switched back on, and so they investigated the ship to defeat the threat the Artartes has fled from, which led them to find two nothings from beyond the edge that frightened them as much as they could to feast on their fear and take their forms. We can see that in the second special, Wild Blue Yonder. That's, by the way, my most favorite special of the three. On the third place, there is the Star Beast. On the second place, the Giggle. And my most favorite special of the three is Wild Blue Yonder. Okay, back. While still unsure why his face had returned, the doctor was certain it was not for the nothing to take it. So, the doctor discovered that the ship's captain had killed herself to stop them impersonating her and had set the ship on a very slow self-destruct sequence so that nothings couldn't figure out what was happening and stop it. Doctor sped up the countdown, which TARDIS sensed and traveled back to the ship, picking up the Doctor and Donna just before the ship exploded and killed the Nothings. They returned to 2023 London to meet Wilf, only to find the city in chaos and Wilf begging the Doctor to stop it. In Blue Yonder. So, a rematch with the Toymaker then. After returning Donna to Earth and encountering Wilfred Mott again, the Doctor watched as humanity appeared to descend into chaos, every human being believing themselves right. He and Donna were found by UNIT and taken to their headquarters, where he reunited with Mel, a companion of his sixth incarnation. And that is Tom Baker. With Kate and Shirley and Bingham's help, the Doctor deduced that a giggle hidden in every skin was manipulating humanity to behave as they were. To find the origin of the problem, the Doctor and Donna traveled to Soho in 1925. There, the pair encountered the Toymaker, one of the Doctor's oldest enemies, whom he last remembered fighting during his first incarnation, William Hartnell. The Toymaker tormented the Doctor, reminding him of his struggle to keep previous companions safe. Giving in, the Doctor challenged the Toymaker to a game of highest card, hoping to win and used the Toymaker's own rules of play to banish and defeat him as he had before, but lost. However, the Doctor invoked the best of three ruling, meaning since the Doctor won the first match between the pair and now the Toymaker won the second, they were tied one. Also needed to have one more game to decide the victor in a best of three. Delighted, the Toymaker agreed and transported to 2023. The Doctor and Donna pursued him, arriving at unit headquarters in time to watch as the Toymaker harassed the unit members. Seeing the Toymaker take control of the galvanic beam, the 14th Doctor initially offered to ally with the Toymaker, but instead berated him when the Toymaker refused the alliance. Angered, the Toymaker fired the galvanic beam at the Doctor, citing a new rule. Since the Doctor had played the first game in his first incarnation, then the second game as the 14th Doctor, the Toymaker was allowed to force the next Doctor to fight him instead. Defeated, the Doctor collapsed to his knees, the beam killing him. However, regeneration energy emitted from his body, revealing his regeneration, had begun. Donna and Mel rushed to his side to be with him. 14th Doctor smiled, insisting this time his regeneration did not feel like dying, and embraced the regeneration energy, remarking, "Here we go again. Allons-y." We see that in last special, the giggle. So, by generation. In the last live stream about an analysis of the giggle, I have talked about by generation, and I will again repeat the term by generation. However, just as the regeneration energy was about to burst from him, the 14th Doctor experienced by generation in which his next incarnation emerged during his lifetime. Together, the 14th and 15th Doctors defeated the Toymaker in a game of catch. For his prize, the 14th Doctor banished the Toymaker from existence. You see that in the giggle. So, what is so special about this by generation? Now, despite their belief of such a thing being a myth, the 14th Doctor underwent a by-generation, which he was split into versions himself and the 15th Doctor. Doctor's previous regeneration, grown from the 13th Doctor to the 14th, had been only about 15 hours earlier. Dus this run of this 14th Doctor is actually the shortest run of a Doctor. That's an important fact to know. So, history. The cause. Whilst confronting the Toymaker, the 14th Doctor challenged him to a game third they had played overall. However, as both of their games up to that point had been played by different incarnations, the first game by the first Doctor and the second by the 14th Doctor, Toymaker declared that the next game must be played by the next Doctor and shot him through the chest with a galvanic beam, causing him to regenerate. That's what I just said earlier. So we have now two Doctors. However, instead of changing his appearance as usual, 14th Doctor recognized that something was different and asked Donna Noble and Melanie Bush to pull on his arms, causing him to begin to separate into two distinct incarnations to the confusion of all present. The two Doctors greeted each other excitedly before pushing against each other to complete the separation. So, now separated, both Doctors challenged the Toymaker to their final game, which they won, and with the 14th Doctor banishing the Toymaker from existence as his reward, with a prize mallet in his hand. The 15th Doctor copied their TARDIS in two that he could continue adventuring while the 14th Doctor could retire to heal from lifetimes of loss and battle until the time he was ready to undergo a full regeneration. You see that in a giggle. So that is a very big change in the show, and I have discussed that in the Last Rise team again in the analysis of the giggle, and there I discuss this. There I talk about this subject. So the bi-generation is a variant of which the Doctor believed to be a myth, and instead of the incarnation directly transforming into the next, bi-generation caused a new incarnation to split from its previous, allowing the two to become independent beings. So you see that in the end that the 14th Doctor is also and the 15th Doctor also. You see that this is resulting in him continue to exist as an incarnation distinct from the newly created 15th Doctor, from his personal future. Okay, do you understand it? Okay. This is Doctor Who. The process was assisted by Donna Noble and Melanie Bush, also, as I read, but also retained both retained all their memories. And you can see that also. In the end, and it cost the whole thing cost the karmas the Doctor had on when the process occurred to separate randomly between each Doctor, leaving both partially clothed. 15th Doctor also benefited from the time the 14th Doctor would go on to spend on Earth with the Noble family, remarking that Time Lords do rehab out of order. The 15th Doctor, also what I already mentioned, was that the 15th Doctor later caused the TARDIS to undergo a bi-generation of its own, using the fact that he had won a prize for defeating the Toymaker. That's good, important to know. Why he could do that to make a TARDIS duplicate or something, or so that both Doctors had their own TARDISes. So he was able to compose this as the Toymaker and his rules still lingered for a few months after his defeat. So that's about by generation. And again, for more explanation, go to the Let's Try stream about the giggle. Okay. The rehabilitation of this of the 14th Doctor. Now, following the defeat of the Toymaker, the 15th Doctor noted that he had not stopped since the first Doctor's encounter with the Toymaker. At that time, the 14th Doctor regeneration from the 13th Doctor had only been about 15 hours prior. And again, the shortest run of an incarnation of the Doctor. With the Doctor having already battled Daleks, the Meep, Nothings, and the Toymaker in that time. Listing numerous battles and mourning the loss of previous incarnation companions Adric, Rose Tyler, and River Song, the 15th Doctor advised his predecessor to rest on Earth and experience the one adventure that had always eluded him, a normal life. Aware of the Doctor's emotional exhaustion, Donna Noble suggests that the Doctor had subconsciously adopted his old appearance again to find her and come home. Following the victory over the Toymaker and the gifted duplication of the TARDIS, the 14th Doctor started his recovery on Earth with the Noble family and Mel Bush, while the 15th Doctor mentally and emotionally rejuvenated by his previous self's brief retirement, resumed their adventures. Although he intended to remain on Earth, the Doctor clandestinely took Rose Noble to Mars and Mel to New York City during the Gilded Age, sharing smaller adventures and his tales with his adopted family before he would soon resume his travels after a few years. Doctor also indulged in more human activities like family dinners. He developed fondness for the moles in the backyard, safeguarding them from Wilf with force fields. Witnessing the peace he had long thought for, Doctor admitted to Donna that he was at his happiest at this moment in time. You seen that in the giggle. Okay, we now go to the psychological profile of the Doctor, his personality, and then again, this Doctor is actually the 10th Doctor, not Holy, the 10th Doctor. There are some differences. It's the same face, it's the same Doctor, but and also not the same Doctor. There are some differences between the 10th incarnation and the 14th Doctor. So the personality. I will discuss the personality now. So while I was initially surprised to have the same appearance as the 10th Doctor, we see it in the power of the Doctor. The 14th Doctor quickly adapted to having his old body, immediately looking to respond to calls of adventure. When questioned by Donald Noble about having his old face again, the Doctor admitted that he didn't know, but he was stuck with it now. In turn, Donna suggested that there must be a reason that it came back given the Doctor's life. One possible reason that Donna suggested was that it was to say goodbye, that the Doctor had been given a second chance to do things differently. See that in Starbeast. Donna later believed that the Doctor's emotional exhaustion had subconsciously triggered his regeneration, back into his old face, so that the Doctor would find Donna and come home to live the one adventures he'd never had, a normal life. We see that in the giggle. The 14th Doctor opened his arms up to friendship of all sorts, offering a greetings as a show of friendliness, as he moved to help all those who he found in trouble. He was also far more open about his feelings, stating that he platonically loved Donna Noble and later confessing to her he was glad to have her back, as it killed him to have to wipe her memory. While confronted with the knowledge of what he assumed to be Wilfrid's passing, the doctor reaffirmed that he loved that man and apologized for the Noble family's loss. When he saw Wilf again, he was overjoyed and hugged him, affectionately greeting him as an old soldier and later calling Wilf granddad. The Doctor had a tendency to crack jokes during intense situations, but underlying his initial blasé to threats was a righteous fury that made him very dangerous when properly provoked. Despite being strongly pacifistic, he once implied he would deem violence fit and proper in a given circumstance. He threatened to eradicate the Daleks after he thought that they had destroyed Earth to prove a point and thought the Golden Emperor's ability to escape destruction to its large casing preventing it from entering the TARDIS. We can see that in the comic Liberation of the Daleks. However, the 14th Doctor did possess some qualities his 10th incarnation did not. So here are some differences. Some qualities, such as his vanity and ego, were simply lessened in this incarnation. Others were completely different. He was far more open about his feelings, much more vulnerable, stating that he platonically loved Donna Noble, had been heartbroken after being forced to wipe her memory. He was also anguished when he thought he had lost both Donna and Wilf, but was later elated to discover they were alive and well. Donna later encouraged the Doctor to visit her family from time to time, and maybe even make some friends which the Doctor admitted he'd consider. He was also more willing to show more intimate signs of affection to his loved ones, such as gently kissing Donna on the hand and later on the top of her head, to comfort her when she was afraid. He was similar. He was similarly quicker to express annoyance, such as when he engaged in argument when Donna snapped at him over the situation in the ship at the edge of creation. He said that in Wild Blue Yonder. Though the Doctor still retained his respect for the human race, he shared his opinions of his previous incarnations and also believed that the human race could be as vicious as well amazing. The 14th Doctor was also outwardly emotional and expressive of his feelings, frequently stating that he loved Wilf, Donna, and even Sarah James Smith and Rose Tyler. He would also outwardly cry, notably becoming distressed upon thinking Wilf had not passed away, realizing the only way to defeat the Meep would be to sacrifice Donna. Mourning the deaths of many people the Toymaker had killed, and also grew emotional when believing he might have give up the TARDIS and retire so the 15th Doctor could leave Earth. Contrarily, he would have explosive and violent outbursts of communication, screaming when deciding to restore Donna's memories, and screaming and striking a wall with his hands and feet in rage after being emotionally manipulated by Donna's nothing counterpart. When he set himself up with a difficult task, he would look to find ways of making his mission easier on himself, though he was unafraid to do things the hard way when dealing with uncooperative people, though he would prefer to chat to solve an issue. He was quick to act when it came to saving people and hastily using himself as a bait to draw the Daleks away from the crowd at Wembley Stadium, but could forget vital information when in the heat of the moment. While he would not be intentionally offensive, he was unafraid to use risky humor. He would also leave people when we're in the midst of a breakdown to focus on dealing with larger and more immediate threats. They still held some of the vanity of his 10th incarnation, asking for an applause from the audience at the Delaco Dome when they mistook the defeat of the simulacra Daleks for a rehearsed performance. He also really rebuffed the Daleks' dome staff when he refused his instructions to close the showdown and returned smugly when he thought they had called him back. We can see that also in the comic Liberation of the Daleks. He also implied that he would deem violence fit and proper in a given circumstance, although he was still strongly pacifistic. See that in the Star Beast also. He loved caves and moles. Continuing the blasé attitude his 10th incarnation showed towards them, the 14th Doctor called the Daleks nasty children in metal suits and elevated himself as a grown-up in comparison to them. He tried to belittle the Supreme Dalek by calling it Dairos, and then took joy in his ability to shoot him. Also, everything is found there in comic Liberation of the Daleks. The 14th Doctor retained the 10th Doctor's fondness for Dom Noble, was anguished at the thought of his presence in her life, causing the Doctor Donna to return and kill her. The Doctor only reluctantly restored Donna's memories when there was no other choice, with clear reluctance and anguish. Although he was elated when Donna survived due to part of the meta crisis having been passed on to her daughter. Discussed it earlier in the first special analysis of Starbeast. Donna later encouraged the Doctor to stick around more and spend time with her family, to try something new and have some friends, which the Doctor suggested he might try. The Doctor also admitted that he remembered every second with Donna, that losing her had killed him. To his own surprise, the Doctor's romantic inclination appeared to be not. To his own surprise, the Doctor's romantic inclinations appeared to be not entirely heterosexual, happily agreeing with Donna's assertion that Eugenitum was hot. And Donna jokingly described this inclination as never being that far from the surface. We see that in the Blue Yonder. He retained the identical crisis his predecessor had developed over the revelations of Timeless Child, agreeing with the nothing, imitating Donna's assertion that he didn't know where he was from, also admitting to intense guilt over the flux. Though he didn't explicitly inform Donna of these events, he stated it would be a million years before he would feel better about it all. The Doctor was also shown to retain some of the self-loathing that the 11th Doctor has shown, as the lambasted himself for his arrogance when confronted with the Tormoker once again. This incarnation was also shown to miss the companions of his previous incarnations that had passed, as he remembered circumstances that had led to the losses of Amy Pond, Clara Oswald, and Bill Potts, and was shown to be on the verge of losing his composure when the Toymaker taunted him with their deaths as well as the Flux. He was also visibly saddened when the deaths of Edric and Sarah Jane Smith were brought up. Concerning regeneration, the 13th Doctor was initially confused by the process, particularly by his body would regenerate him into a body near identical to his 10th incarnation. Although, compared to the 10th Doctor's fear of regeneration and sadness when regenerating, the 13th Doctor was far more accepting of it. Though he was still saddened, he assured Donna and Mel that it wasn't death, and he accepted his regeneration with the words that it's time. You can see that in the special The Giggle. At the Doctor's beat generation, the 13th Doctor revealed that the Doctor was emotionally exhausted by everything that they had been through during their lives, and everyone that had lost along the way, which the Doctor had never stopped to do with, starting with the traumas the Tormaker had inflicted upon them. At the suggestion of Donna and the 15th Doctor, the 14th Doctor decided to go into rehab on Earth to have the adventure of living a normal life for once, the one adventure he had never had, although the Doctor would still take his adopted family on short trips in his TARDIS. The Doctor later admitted to Donna that he had never been so happy in his life. He had an excellent relationship with his successor, joking with him and hugging each other joyously soon after their bad generation. So that was about the personality. Now with the habits and quirks. The 13th Doctor often explained his jokes and wordplay and made a habit of assigning cheeky nicknames to others. He also took on numerous traits of his 10th incarnation, including a speaking in the same accent and loudly proclaiming, "What? What?" repeatedly when vexed by a situation. He also liked to act at one point, pulling out a barrister's wig to conduct a mock trial against Meep. The 14th Doctor also shared his 10th incarnation's love for the phrase, "LLZ? LLZ?" saying it when heading towards dangerous situations, and even chose to say it right before his regeneration. So, and some skills of this Doctor. The Doctor had the agility to outrun pursuing Daleks while simultaneously avoiding their gunstick fire, and was fast enough that he could catch up to his nothing counterpart despite him having a head start. He also possessed the swordsmanship skills needed to fight off the Queen of Sycorax. He was also particularly skillful in a game of catch, using quick reflexes to defeat the Tormaker at the game despite the Tormaker trying to catch him off guard. He was quick with calculations, able to determine the distance between the edge of the universe and Earth by looking out into space. He could determine the date by smelling the air and focus all his senses to pinpoint the origin of a sound. He could also analyze blood by taste and the circuits on a spaceship. Without, without the aid of the TARDIS's translation circuit, the Doctor could speak German, and the Doctor later confirmed that he could speak over 57 billion languages without a TARDIS translation circuit. His language skills were so good that even without the translation circuits, he could translate the language used at the edge of the universe by simply having access to the symbols, a representative language version of the numbers 1 to 10. So, again, March is to be. You can March. Different things you can find about the 14th Doctor in the comic Liberation of the Daleks and also in the specials. Now his appearance, of course, the 14th Doctor greatly resembled a slightly older version of his 10th incarnation, sharing his tall, slim frame, finely boned hands and face, and large dark brown eyes, as well as his thick brown hair with sideburns, though with a slight copper tinge. He instantly recognized the similarity from running his tongue over his teeth, and by the familiar feeling of his face, which also had 5 o'clock shadow of stubble. His kidneys remained their normal blue color, but he had distinct brain cells and blood to his other incarnations. Although initially in denial about returning to an all body, the 14th Doctor was pleased to have regained the hands he hadn't realized he had missed. Familiar face, fantastic hair, slightly quizzle left eyebrow, a brilliant grin by the time he wrote him about himself in a letter. So that was everything the about this doctor. I want also want um, mention that I did this live stream is part of a series. It is called Psychological Profile of the Doctor. I have all the previous incarnations, all the previous doctors I have, in the past I've discussed all these doctors. So the playlist is called Psychological Profile of the Doctor, and you can find the first Doctor till to this Doctor, the 14th Doctor. So if you go to my YouTube channel page, you can find there the playlist. Also, I do now a series on the companions of the Doctor, and next time I will do a live stream about the companions of the 10th Doctor, and actually also the companion of the 14th Doctor, the companion of the 10th Doctor, Martha Jones, Donna Noble, and Wilfred Moth, and also the companion of the 14th Doctor, that is Donna Noble. So that was it for now. I hope you enjoyed this live stream, and all the listeners after this live stream, you're very welcome to join next live stream about the companions of the 10th Doctor. Like and subscribe. Like this video and subscribe to my channel. Want and then you will stay informed about the different times of the live streams and what live streams we have. So um, I hope to see you next time, and I want to say to you, have a nice weekend. Oh, and I want to end with um, the um, what was I? Alcohol. The end. Oh, that was all. Okay. I want to end with the following line. And this is a quote from the 15th Doctor shortly after being generated. Now, someone tell me what the hell is going on here.